all rise for a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could the secretary perform a roll call attendance, please?
Mr. Truss, absent. Mr. Carrillo.
Here.
Mr. Meehan.
Here.
Mr. Bruno. Here. Mr. Ferretico, absent. Mr. Law.
Here.
Mr. Moss.
Here. Okay. All right. Okay, all the board members should have received the minutes from both the December 1st and January 5th, 2026 meeting. If there's no discussion regarding minutes, entertain a motion to accept them as written. So moved.
Second.
Motion's made, seconded. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. All right. Our first item on the agenda this evening is a public hearing for Casa Amigos Restaurant, amended site plan. So at this time, have the engineer give a, actually, let's need a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good evening, Jeff Econom, consultant for the project. We're here, the applicant is looking to take over the old Odyssey Diner and convert it to a Mexican restaurant. The proposal is to utilize the existing footprint and then add roughly 1,133 square foot addition out front where the existing garbage enclosure is located, relocate the garbage enclosure to the rear of the project, which is closer to the kitchen, reconfigure the parking, actually reduce the amount of impervious area, be code compliant with parking, redo the landscaping, put in new landscaping, bring the lighting to LED lighting. Code will be pretty much code compliant. It's 3,000 Kelvin. I did put the note on the drawing as requested. I'm also having the lighting consultant look at shields to put on, which will eliminate any backlighting onto the property. So I should have that revised plan in the next day or so. Property is fed by municipal water and sewer, so that's all. We have Board of Health approval. Went to the village. Village has given her okay. So it's pretty much it. You know, the only changes to the building is the addition and repainting to the colors that have been submitted.
Okay. All right. Does any of the board members have any questions for the applicant? None. Okay. No? All right. Does staff have any questions? Okay. All right. So at this time, let's open up the floor for public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on behalf of this application? Okay. Seeing none. Guess there's nothing really to discuss. Well, we do have, hold on, let me just go back to my, so with that, I know at the last meeting you had requested to have a draft resolution proposed for this meeting, just in case we had a circumstance like this where nobody does come out and speak about, speak regarding this, so I guess there's no issues from the neighbors. You did, I guess, address all the outstanding items that are conditions within this approval, correct?
Apart from a couple of conditions in the resolution draft regarding lighting, which it sounds like you are in the process of addressing, and we can catch that at compliance review.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so with that, do we have the resolution in front of us? So somebody wants to make a motion to approve the resolution as drafted?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion's made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome. So at this point, just finish out all conditions within the resolution with staff, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you. I
Okay.
think I've given B everything
Touch, you
that
get touch.
she needs, and
Huh?
Christian, I took care of you, so we're just the one lighting plan.
Yeah, just submit those final documents to them so that they can do the compliance review. And then reach out to B, and she'll guide you through the rest of this.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
You too. Okay. All right, so the next item on the agenda this evening is discussion regarding 10-Stage Door Road. All right, good evening. All right. You did receive the resolution?
I did.
Okay. No questions or concerns regarding,
I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask regarding the
Okay.
resolution. Under item 2D, this talks about obtaining all necessary outside approvals, including but not limited to the Dutchess County Department of Health. With this application, we're proposing to keep all the uses exactly the same as they are now. We're basically just changing tenants. So typically, when you keep the use the way it is, the health department doesn't require anything because you're not changing the use on the building, so they don't ask for any kind of review, they don't issue any kind of approval. So my question is it necessary to include that in the resolution?
No.
I agree with what he's saying.
do
Yeah.
you agree?
Yep.
We can
Okay.
strike that.
Yeah, there's nothing going on inside the building, correct? There's no,
Right.
you're not changing the use?
It's the exact same use.
Okay.
Nothing that would trigger
Health
Right.
or constitute an increase in water or sewer demand that would
Correct.
require.
Yeah. Usually, yeah, I couldn't remember if this was if you had something in there that was being changed from one use to another.
No, the uses are the same, we're just changing
All right.
tenants.
So if
And then-
everything's staying the same, all right. So technically, we could, no condition, we take that out and just relabel E as D? Okay.
The other thing, and this may have been corrected, but I noticed in E, it talks about the town engineer's November letter. I believe that they have a January letter, 120.
Yeah, they did. We talked about this in the pre-meeting. Do you
Okay.
want to update it to
Yeah,
the January?
do that, yep.
So that's January, it was
20.
yesterday?
Yep.
20?
Okay.
And then my last question is, in number 5, it talks about the special use permit approval. That might have been a typo.
I think so, yeah. I'll strike that. Yeah, that should be the site plan, sorry.
And
That was
were-
under the special use permit.
I'll change that to site plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll change that
okay.
to be site plan approval.
Yeah, okay. And those were my only
That's all I took
items
concerns.
that I noticed in the resolution.
And the applicant name, Glenn Lois, that's appropriate, that's who should be signing.
He's the signer for Sigma LLC, is the actual applicant owner.
signal also. Okay.
All right.
All right, so you've picked those all up in there?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we can just vote on it as amended.
Okay. All right. So with that, entertain a motion to approve the amended resolution.
I'll move that.
Oh, second.
Okay, motion made, seconded, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
All right, thank you. Have
You're
a
all
good
set.
night.
You're welcome. All right. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, O'Donnell Wheeler Hill outline realignment, that will be, that'll be taken off the agenda tonight, and that'll be put on for the next meeting, which will be February the 2nd. So that brings us to Tassone Court, condition of Tassone Court addition of commercial use, amended site plan.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening. All right, and you have received a copy of the resolution as well?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've reviewed it. Everything looks pretty good. I've also gone through and revised the plans so that it reflects that when you calculate out the areas, the residential area is 9%. I've noted that on the plan.
How many percent?
Whoops, sorry, swap that. Residential is 91%.
Commercial is 10.
Commercial is 9%. By area,
By floor area?
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Or not, actually, that was by lot area.
Footprint?
I'll take a look at how it's presented on the plans, if the math makes sense.
It was done by,
Hold on.
there's 2.33 acres allotted for the 7 units, residential. So that leaves 2.37 acres for the commercial, which gives us a FAR of 0.4. But when you do that math into the 2.57, you get 9 to 91%. But I
So
can
91% of the total building
Not
floor
the
area.
building.
He's saying total, he's
Net
saying
area,
total
lot area, I
property.
thought it is wooded.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, so what were we supposed to do, the math was supposed to be done based upon the square footage of each building, correct?
It's frustrating because the equation for commercial and the equation for residential are done differently. The residential uses net lot area, and the commercial uses FAR.
Actually, it's net lot area. I have it right here. It's minimum residential and commercial components is measured by net lot area.
Yeah.
That's what the code reads, so.
No, because, yeah, I'm just, why do I kind of remember the conversation we were talking about 75% last time?
Because
the requirement in the special permit is that no less than 25% be for either use.
Either use,
We
correct.
knew that this did not comply with this, they were pre-existing conditions, and that it was not going to comply with the requirements of the mixed-use special permit. We just wanted to memorialize the degree to which it did not comply.
That it's not, that it's going
Yeah.
to, this is the non-conforming.
Yeah,
So these you're going to check over these calculations?
yeah.
Okay. All right, so is that, you confirming that, or is this?
I don't think we need to confirm this now. It's a
Okay.
condition in the resolution with
That says
compliance
that they
review.
have to show the
I'll double check the
compliance
math.
Okay.
If it doesn't add up, or I think that it's been calculated incorrectly, we can amend it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, so anyway, so regardless of that, I know we did discuss earlier about the voting on a reapproval of the Lambeck parking waiver, which was previously approved, so at this point, I guess I'll entertain a motion to reapprove the Lambeck parking waiver. So if somebody wants to make a motion.
I'll move that.
Okay, so it's been moved, do we have a second? Second, okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Huh? No. Aye, okay. All right. Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, so all right, so reapproval of the parking waiver that will now could show as today's date on the resolution. So with that, entertain a motion to approve the amended site plan.
Motion to approve. I'll make a motion.
Yeah. Making it, you second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're all set.
Have a good evening.
You too. Okay. All right, so our next item on the agenda is Sitco amended site plan. Good evening. Okay. So obviously you've received a copy?
Did not, of the
You did not.
resolution? No.
Okay. So basically, it's just a, we'll get you a copy, I guess. Guess basically, it's just, we're not,
I think I could give that
Huh?
to him.
Yeah.
I have a copy, I think I could give that to him.
yeah, if you want to, go ahead and give it to him, I guess. There you go. Here, I'll give him, it's all right, Pete, don't worry about it. Here, you can have this copy, you can take mine. All right. So I didn't write anything on it, so you could have that. I guess there's really no discussion tonight because you're not willing to address any of the issues. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve the denial as drafted. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
Okay,
Okay?
okay, got it. So B, will I receive a resolution then?
We could send,
If they could
that's
send
it.
something?
I'll refer to the attorney. We should have the vote, have the secretary fill in the vote and forward them a copy of the, actually signed, I guess I'll have to sign it as well.
Yeah, and a stamp of when it was filed, because that's the date they need. All right, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Have a nice
Okay.
evening.
Huh?
Motion, second.
Yeah, he made motion, second was over there with Jim, and everybody voted aye. Okay, perfect. All right, on to our next item for discussion this evening is Seven Brew Coffee, which I guess is amended site plan.
Good evening. My name is Doug Beachel. I'm representing a franchise group, Brew Team New York. We are a 7 Brew franchise doing New York State locations for 7 Brew. We have approximately 125 of these throughout the eastern half of the United States. 7 Brew Coffee was started in Rogers, Arkansas in 2017, and it's basically working its way across the country. It's equivalent to Dutch Brothers Coffee, which is another concept from the West Coast that's coming east. So we're, right now we opened 65 in 2025, our group, and then we've got another 100 we're trying to open this year. So it's really accelerating. It is a drive-through only coffee stand that offers an assortment of coffees, teas, smoothies, energy drinks. There's no food other than there's a single prepackaged muffin top that can be purchased. There's no seating inside or public access inside the building. Our hours are 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 5:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. There's typically approximately 60 employees per location, 5 or 6 per shift, and then 10 or 12 on special events when we open the first couple weeks. And then on the 7th of every month, we have a giveaway where we give away stickers, koozies, T-shirts, that type of thing, and those are generally busier days. This is a prefabricated modular building manufactured in Springfield, Missouri. The main building here in green, it's hard to see this. The main building is 510 square feet. That comes on a truck. It's put on a crawl space foundation. There's 2 pieces: the main structure and then the second floor that basically has the mechanicals and the rooftop units. There's a separate 338 square foot cooler dry storage area. It's slightly bigger in the northeast just because we have room for a snow blower. And then across the front in blue is a canopy that goes over the access to the cooler across the front of the stand. We call them coffee stands, not coffee shops. And then over 1.5 lanes of the drive-through lane. There's 2 lanes, 1 and lane 2 that wrap around. And there's a separate dumpster enclosure as well.
I'm sorry, separate what?
Dumpster enclosure in the rear. We operate, the best way to describe it is a sort of, if they say if Chick-fil-A and Starbucks had a baby, this is what it would look like. So there is no drive-through window per se. There's no order stand. There's no speaker box. All of our employees come out the side of the building. There's a sliding door on this side and on this side so they can get out to the cooler for product, and then so they can also make drinks and bring them out to the cars. Well, 1 to 2 employees typically, sometimes more, walk through the drive lanes, just like a Chick-fil-A, with iPads or some sort of tablet and take your order. So there is a television screen monitor under the canopy here that is mounted that has our menu, but our menu fluctuates constantly, and it's frankly, it morphs based on what's popular on social media in whichever region we're operating. So people create their own drinks with all the different products we have, and that kind of takes a life of its own. So there's 7 core drinks that we have, either hot or cold, but then there's all kinds of different variables that people come up with. So we don't really have an extensive menu that's published. It can be found online. I speak to this because I'm not the target customer. So generally, it's younger people that are into this brand and this concept and these energy drinks. I brought my 82-year-old mother through there, right after Thanksgiving, because she had never been to one. She wanted to know what I did, and she had no idea what was going on. So it's a unique concept. It's the employees that are inside the stand are just making drinks constantly, and So once you make your order, you get up to the front of the line to one of these 2 stop bars, and the employee will bring your drink out to your window, either here or here. There's a small cart outside that has straws, sugars, any kind of accessories that you would want for your beverage. But typically, the employees, based on weather, will rotate who's outside, who's inside. It's really an active job when you're working it, because it's constantly busy. You're in and out. You're either making drinks constantly or you're amongst the vehicles. We don't have a curb ever proposed between the drive lanes, just for a trip hazard. Our striping plan shows things in blue. I noticed the county took issue to our striping plan. We can get into that at some point. It's just our standard color. So all these directional arrows and sort of some of the striping really around the perimeter is blue.
Is it like handicap blue? Is that what the problem was?
Yeah, they did make a comment. I don't know how close it is, to be honest. I think ours is more of a neon, almost, it's blue. So,
Okay.
yeah, something like that, versus a darker blue. Parking, so for us, really, it's such a small building, we typically have very minimal parking requirements in most municipalities. It's really just our employee parking. So, we're over-parked on this one compared to many of our sites. I think this has 13 spaces. We do have our ADA parking space here, but there's 9 up here, and then these bring it up to 13. One other thing is, and this particular site does have a bypass lane. We're proposing to use the existing entrances, ingress, egress, everything that basically Sonic was using in this location.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Earlier you said there was no drive-through window, but is there a walk-up window?
There's not really a walk-up window. So 98 or 99% of our traffic is full drive-through. However, first responders don't want to get in line with their vehicles, so they'll park either in our parking or in a plaza. Typically, we're in a plaza. And that you can approach any of our employees or the front of the location here, and somebody will take your order. So, and we do give first responders 50% off.
But anybody could do that?
Yeah, anybody can do that.
So it's kind of like a walk-up, just no window?
Kind of, but yeah, but it's very rare, to be honest. It's.
Are they walking through that queue line? Like, is your parking area on the opposite side of those queue lines? So if I wanted to just walk up, am I parking and then having to walk through a queue line?
Sometimes.
That'd be fun, huh, for people with
Depends on where you park.
wheelchairs and stuff, or?
Same thing for the handicap space, and
Well, the handicap space is close to the building.
I know,
Like, is
but handicap space and all the parking adjacent to it, in a scenario where there's a full queue, those parking spaces are not accessible and can't come in or leave.
How do you get in and out?
Typically, that's employees that are parking there. Yeah, we rarely have a consumer or a customer that will park in those locations. Basically, there's two ways. Either you wait for a lull and you get in and get out, or there are employees out there actively walking all through here that will control traffic. So we really train our employees on traffic control and flow through of the queue.
So your handicap spot is what you consider your employee parking spot? Or is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, typically. I mean, we can put the handicap spot anywhere. Typically, we'll put it as close as we can to the building, just because that's good common practice. However, mostly employees are parking there. We have very few non-employees that are parking on our sites, except for sometimes first responders.
So is this like Ready Coffee up by Kohl's? It seems
Yeah.
like a, you know, people can
It's
walk up
similar,
and there's a.
well, it's similar,
little
but he's saying that
kiosk.
with Ready Coffee is more, at least the one by Kohl's has, you know, it's more of a walk-up business to it. They do have a window there specifically for
For that.
walk-up business. Yeah.
But if I didn't want to wait in a 35-car queue, and I wanted to walk up to a employee and cut the whole line, I just have to park on the other side and then walk through the cars to get to the employee and put my order in.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad you just answered that without having to come up with a whole different story on what was going to happen, you know?
I can't control consumers anywhere.
No, of course not.
I've been in this a long time, and the amount of people that run into buildings daily, or you never know what they're going to do, especially, you know, write-ins, write-outs, things of that nature. You're on a planning board, you're engineers, it's tough to control the consumer or the general population.
Where's your closest 7 Brew from here?
Closest here is in Albany, in Colony. We don't have any south of here. I've got a couple under development between here and Albany. And then we have 4 open in the Syracuse market, 5 now in the Rochester market. There's another group that's doing Buffalo. We did not pick up Buffalo just because Tim Hortons is a powerhouse in Buffalo because of the Canadian proximity.
I'm curious, just because, I mean, you're talking about a lot of places that have a lot of nasty weather, a lot of snow, and it sounds like, you know, at least half of the employees on shift at any given time are sort of actively outside. Your hours of operation go until 11 p.m. What was the earliest?
5:30.
5:30. What's been your experience with these people working in the snow and, you know, in bad weather conditions, I guess?
A couple of, actually, good question. There are, much like Chick-fil-A, under the canopy, it's, and some of those hot spots on that lighting plan under the canopy are it's recessed lighting up in the canopy. And really the one that the county made reference to that was 15 something was right over the door, kind of where that stand is. There's also heating like you have at Home Depot or some big box.
Like radiant heat.
So I mean, our employees are, you know, they'll like I said, they'll come and go in between shift from being inside and outside. Even the inside employees are out quite a bit though. Typically they'll hand it to somebody standing there and they'll run it to the cars, but you know, they're active and it's
And they know the job and they come dressed for it.
Yeah. It's, you know, we do have music playing. The front windows of the coffee stand are quite large and they're painted based on the season or the local sports teams. So it's, you know, it's typically a younger, more energetic employee base that's really active, and there's not a lot of downtime. So they understand it. You know, they're shoveling. Obviously we have snow removal, but they have to do what they can to kind of really get going and keep everything moving.
Do you accept cash?
Yes.
Because you said you're not the target office. I'm probably not either, but okay.
Yeah, it's all your cell phone. It's cell phone data. It's social media. It's, you know, you give them your phone number when you pull up, and they know what your order is, and they know your name. And it's much like other QSR brands that are all going to this type of marketing with cell phone data. And you know, you pull up, and the screen at Burger King will tell you, you know, what you ordered last time. You know, without really, it just knows where you are. The cell phone data tracking is unbelievable. So, you know, you can tell, we can tell, when, I mean, for site selection when you're doing these things, and like I said, I've worked for multiple other brands, new to this brand, hence why the fumble early on when I was trying to get information over. I wasn't part of that pre-development meeting that was held back, I think, in September. So I had some pretty limited notes, and then Thanksgiving didn't really help. And then I sent a bad link, So that's why you guys got the concept plan versus the full set of plans. So I apologize for that. I also believe our average queue count isn't 14. I know that's what's written in the letter. I think that was a form letter I took from somebody else and, tweaked it to this market. However, it's closer to 24 or 27 right now. But I do have a traffic impact study by one of our consultants that we've already done that we provide to the board and any consulting engineers or reviewers. So really, a 35-car stack or queue isn't really out of the ordinary for us.
But you said that was based off of, what, Arkansas?
Originally, yeah, it started in Arkansas, but now they're...
Where is
No,
the
no,
traffic
where was
study?
the number you just gave, you said that was based off of a study from, I thought you said Arkansas.
No, the study I have is for this particular location. The 14 number as an
Yeah.
average queue was basically from our brand in New York State a year ago, when we only had a couple of locations. So it references, New York State, 7 brews, that average, but it's tweaked up quite a bit since then.
So you're saying this, in New York State, people are okay with 34 cars ahead of them?
Yes. You wouldn't believe it.
I get 4 cars ahead of me and I lose my mind. I don't know, there's New York.
I don't disagree. The other thing is, we don't have food, so our average ticket time from order to getting your drink is typically 4 minutes or less. So the through flow should conceivably, and if we're operating correctly, be much quicker than like a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks that may have a food order in there that's going to all of a sudden shut down your whole line for 5 to 7 minutes.
The only thing I'll say about that is that it just concerns me a little bit more of people walking through that queue line, knowing that how fast that queue line's going to go. That's all. I don't know if we even need a resolution for that, but it's just something to think about for safety.
We're a drive-through only specific brand, really, and we don't allow people in the building, so we don't encourage walk-up, and it's not, I think the general consumer doesn't consider that as an option. They'll look at this, the way it's laid out in the traffic pattern, and it's kind of, but it does happen, but it is very, very rare.
Have you ever had in the company, has there ever been any instance or a record of like a car pedestrian incident in your queue lines?
I don't know that answer, and I'm not being evasive. I honestly don't know. I'm typically front side real estate. Operationally, I can kind of look into that.
Just curious. Okay.
I can speculate because there's incidents everywhere. If you're open to the public. But.
Yeah, you could get that anywhere, though. Yeah.
In any parking lot.
Wendy's, McDonald's, all those places are similar. Sometimes
Typically
you have to cross a queue line to get to the front door.
Typically, people in parking lots drive more carefully than they do on the road.
Sure, but
Yeah.
you always have to, you don't want to be the board that says, hey, it happens anywhere, and then it happens here, and then they're like, well, the board just said it happens anywhere, instead of really thinking it out and saying, well, if we do this, maybe we can just make something where maybe there's a cross section specific with maybe a stop, look both ways, or car must stop here, or just putting a little bit extra thought around the safety of that. That's all I'm looking to see.
I think it's a good idea, especially with where the parking is located. But, we'll have our traffic engineers do a thorough review of the site plan and the traffic study.
If you have 100 and something locations throughout this country and there's not one car pedestrian accident, then fine. Obviously it works, we
probably just not being far along in the process here. Typically we will put a crosswalk because a lot of municipalities too, if they have a sidewalk along Main Street, will want some sort of sidewalk that connects to our thing, and then obviously we'll have We'll have a crosswalk striped with ADA accessible ramp to get somewhere on the property.
Cool.
So,
That's it, yeah.
and
Great.
I
Yeah. Okay,
I
good
think
enough.
that covers.
Is there a sidewalk in front of that shopping center?
I don't remember. I have to actually
I don't
go look. I know there is a bus stop
I think there
in front
Yeah, I
of.
thought there is too.
Yeah, does that sidewalk, though, the only question I have is, does that sidewalk extend all the way to the entrance, or actually, it's an exit only at the north part of that property?
Yeah.
That would have been the only other thing.
That is an exit
I didn't,
only.
I'm assuming it's there, because normally the county would, in their memo, they would put in something about the sidewalk.
They did on the med spa.
Right, they did on the other project across the street, so, and I know the county's big, their transportation council has been promoting sidewalk improvements along the Route 9 corridor, so there are still a lot of locations that don't have them. Might be something we want to look at, too, to extend that sidewalk from, because it probably goes to at least that bus stop, and then if not, then possibly.
There isn't one south of the entrance, according to this aerial, but there is north of the entrance going in front of this site, I think.
Going north, and as you go all the way up to the north exit.
It's hard to tell. No, it does not.
There's not, it just goes to the bus stop shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, okay. I mean, maybe it's something we want to possibly look at,
Yeah.
take a look and see.
The other thing is, I do know, so our canopy is only 32 feet from the property line, so I know it's a 75-foot setback there, so I know we need a variance. Suggested we come to the planning board first and
Right.
sort of start the process, so.
Yeah, I'll start with us. I guess, I mean, with us, it starts with it because somebody's going to want to make sure that we're comfortable with what we're seeing and, you know, the building, whether or not the board feels that the building needs to be moved or anything like that, but, I mean, kind of understanding what you're looking to do. I mean, I don't think I have an issue with it. I don't know if anybody, any of the board members have any questions regarding that in terms of the layout.
What about the county's comments on that discount?
Well, with the, you know, the county, yeah.
Have you seen the county's comments?
I have, and I think probably the county picked up on my 14 average queue number versus our 35 car stack, and said it seemed like they wanted to redesign the site based on that in terms of building. I don't know how many coffee shops the county runs.
They say they're willing to discuss that with you, so maybe you should go back to them.
Yeah, ultimately, this is the configuration and the traffic flow that we feel we need to
Well,
operate this.
they made a comment. You might
Yeah.
want to go back and discuss it, see if they'll modify their comment.
I will approach the county. I'm not sure how it works in Dutchess County, if we're allowed to, I don't know, some of those county planning meetings
I
or.
don't know if they, I mean, I don't know if he has to go back and discuss that with them. They just have the conversation with us. I mean, they don't get too involved with it. They just make their comments to,
They specifically say it'd be
Yeah,
willing to
they do.
review
With
these
them.
concepts with the applicant.
The last line of the last comment, the department would be willing to review these concepts with the applicant to help identify the most functional appropriate site.
I mean, yeah. So,
So the,
yeah,
I
just
think
out
what we're
of
picking up on is that the county comment letter is conditional in nature. It's a stronger stance than they usually take. So, you know, you may want to reach out to them and talk to them. Unfortunately, because of the snafu with the link, Christian and I don't have comments to weigh in. I don't have, you know, traffic comments from our traffic engineers to contribute. So we are relatively hamstrung in the conversation, but.
If I send our current traffic study to B, can you distribute it onward for additional material to support our site plan application?
okay.
And then, yes, we can reach out to the county and see which level of dialogue they're open to.
And just again, that the traffic study was particular just to this site, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You circulate it to all of us, B?
Okay. The other, you were talking about some of the other locations in New York. They're similar to this as well, to this layout?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. With the double lane
Yeah,
drive-through?
that's a requirement from the brand, so we wouldn't do it without a double lane. Because the amount of cars that go through are pretty significant, and it's just really the best way to operate the business and get the through flow that we need is to have the 2 lanes. We had one in Oswego recently that was a double lane, but it wasn't in the first 40 feet. We reconfigured it in order to get the double lane, just because it was a brand requirement. So if we can't get the two dedicated drive-through lanes, then it's not a project we would continue to pursue.
Okay. All right, so that makes a little
And
sense.
regarding the other comments from the county, the lighting, signage, and parking comments, can you address those?
Parking, I think it was just, you said a discrepancy. I think that was basically between the concept plan and our site plan. And our concept plan is basically just a rough drawing that we meet with the municipality initially with, just to say, conceptually, this is what we're looking to do. So I think that's where that comment came from, because that plan, I believe, showed 9, maybe.
19.
Okay, all right.
So this plan shows 13.
Yeah.
The concept shows 19. That was the discrepancy, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't taken a look at your parking calculations per our code. It is likely going to be based on building square footage, but I think that because the business model that you're proposing is different in nature than, a restaurant use, which is what we would consider this under the code, I think that you could request a waiver from that parking requirement. But based on the square footage, I imagine that their parking requirement would be relatively low compared to the 13 spaces that you're providing.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating that you're overparked at 13 or 19.
There's a note on here, but our engineer did it, so I'm not totally clear on it. But, yeah, I think we're typically, I think at 9 might be required based on square footage. And like I said, that's sometimes a lot for us.
Sure.
Usually it's 5 to 6.
I do think that, I'm anticipating comments from the traffic engineer about the spaces that would be blocked in by your queuing lanes. I think that the 9 along the top, because that's your through lane, it makes a lot of sense. But I am expecting our traffic engineers to take issue with the 4. Is it the 3 normal and then the handicap space?
Yeah, 3 and 188.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the purpose of the through lane?
You don't want to wait for 35 cars ahead of you.
And you just go home?
Just go around it.
It depends. If we have room to do it, really, it's a bypass lane. Certain municipalities require them for quick service restaurants, some don't. But this particular site, with its size and its previous use as a Sonic, it's almost practically there already. So, it's just another option.
It's just because it's there already.
Sort of. We wouldn't.
It's almost 2 of us.
We don't need it to operate because we operate multiple of these locations.
In what typical situation would somebody want to use the bypass lane?
If they're waiting too long and they just want to pull out, if they have an
So
emergency.
the second lane could pull out, but if you're in the interior lane, how do you get out?
You wedge or de-wedge is what they say in Boston. You're trying to get in and out of traffic. So
It's like Sitco.
You
just
basically
figure out a way how to.
you put your blinker on and hope your neighbor is friendly, or one of our with employees in the drive-through lanes, we can manage customers and their actions and their vehicles.
I had a feeling that's what it was. with those employees, Matt, being able to maneuver, hey, this is going to be light, this, somebody gets jammed up one side for an order a little longer, you can move the cars to the other side to get through and out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot put on these employees, you know, there's a lot going on, and people can get frustrated. Or, you know, sometimes you'll get a call, it's an emergency, and you gotta get out of there, so. A lot of times it's just wait, if you happen to be waiting. Our goal is never to have anybody wait that long, but
Plus, too, you
everybody's
need
been in a drive-through.
You need it for the you need it for the parking spaces too, that's the common sense
You need to be able
portion of
to,
it.
I mean, an
People
employee
that need
exiting
it,
the
they
site.
pull out of a parking space that aren't in the line, they want to back out and get around everything. So it's almost a required, it's basically almost required to have that third lane just for them to travel through.
A couple of quick questions. So signage, so the initial package did have our standard sign package. I understand it's one building sign. And that's probably all anybody would get, but I do see that Popeyes had a small sign on the side and one on the front, and Dunkin' had one on the, was that through the ZBA, or is it?
No, that was through the planning board. We approved the second sign. Yeah, we've had other projects in the past, actually, that previously approved Jiffy Lube for this location. I mean, they wanted signage on all four sides, and we ended up, you know, agreeing to let them have the two signs, I believe, on that one. If I remember, we have to just go back and verify it, as nobody's had a chance to take a look at that. But, yeah, normally we don't approve it on all four sides.
Okay. Yeah, I think our ask would probably just be up front and then the side on Route 9 if possible, but it's really.
So like the south and the west wall,
Yes.
sort of facing oncoming traffic?
Yeah, here and here.
Yeah, okay.
And we have them in the brand, we have pylon signs and monument signs, but our particular group doesn't necessarily, we don't fight for them, they're not something that we really find add much value. Our building is our sign, and word of mouth is our sign, so.
Yeah. And too, with the signage too, I think we have all, I mean, when you submit you should have a complete package of signage, you know, including any of the, you know, wayfinding signs as well, just so we're, you know, approving it all in one fell swoop.
Okay.
For the parking, do you have any, in your other locations, any particular signage on the parking, whether it's employee only, or how's that signed typically?
None that I've run into yet, but I haven't been around that long either. So I would imagine that some municipalities somewhere probably have put some parking stipulations on. So we're open to it, but yeah, none that I've run into so far.
I had a question about the county lighting comment. I mean, didn't have an opportunity to review the lighting plan. Are you open to revising that lighting?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The other county comment was, we do have a blue light that goes along the canopy in front of the building and on the top of the room that covers the canopy. It's a strip light, and the county comment was that LED lighting or rope lighting, I believe, is not allowed in the town. I drove by the site earlier, and like Outback Steakhouse has that red strip, and the car wash had quite a bit of activity going on, or neon lighting on all their vacuums.
Well, the car wash is actually in the Village of Wappingers.
Oh, okay.
So it's governed by a different board and a different set of regulations.
There's also a number of,
Outback is the last one, that's the last building in that portion where the town is.
and the lighting code was updated, what, 4 years ago, 3 years ago? I mean,
Yeah.
Outback for sure predates
Yeah.
the lighting code.
I'm gonna have to look into that just a little bit. And
Take a look, yeah.
'Cause that's also sort of really our
It's part of the branding.
brand trade dress It's kind of a thing. And, there's a couple of different ways we can shield it and do some things with it. It's dimmable, we can turn it off at night, but we need to try to figure out a path.
Would you be able to submit like a photo simulation of what that would look like at night? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, yeah.
Yeah.
Curious how that will play with the rest of the lighting on the site and what that will make
Yeah,
the building.
I had a great photo I was going to try to print out, but everything was black and I ran out of ink before I got in the car 5 hours ago. So we can send that.
And landscaping is all existing? You're just maintaining existing landscaping, or are you proposing anything new?
I think I didn't necessarily compare our proposed landscape plan with what's there, so I think, we would be open to any further requirements. Anything that's damaged or not long for this world, we could replace, so we're open to.
I'm curious if you, as part of your business model, have preferences on that, if you like to maintain sight lines or things like that, I don't know.
Like any quick service restaurant, really, we don't love large trees around the site. Sometimes, depending on the site and how it lays out, and sometimes if the building is facing the road and the view comes around, we'll put low-lying bushes or a hedge or a small wall just to block headlights from spilling out into the roadway. We like to try to keep it as clean as possible and, low maintenance as possible, but we're not opposed to, we follow the landscape guidelines wherever we try to operate. So.
Yeah. All right. And board members have any other questions? No? Okay. You guys have pretty much...
We'll develop comments, obviously, on what they have, but this is a pre-developed site, and I anticipate that any engineering comments that we have will be pretty technical, if any. So I think the majority of the conversation will be revolving around the things that you're talking about already. So the circulation, traffic, and landscaping and lighting. So but we'll develop comments if, based on this plan and work through the utilities and drainage and things. So.
I would say, get us the traffic information that you have. We'll start looking at that. Get us a revised lighting plan so that we don't spend time reviewing the old one, which we know is too high. And those photo simulations, architecturals, the information on the signage. And I think in the meantime, if you would, it's up to you if you would like to bring your application to the ZBA for the setback. Because obviously if they're not willing to grant that, that may affect layout. So you'll want an answer to that as early as you can. And whether or not they are interested in granting that may be influenced by the conversation regarding traffic flow, our review of your traffic study, and the needs that you have as far as site circulation. But that should not stand in the way of you opening an application with the ZBA.
Right. Does the ZBA in this town get referrals from the planning board, or is it pretty much?
It's been in multiple different ways they've done it, unfortunately. We used to refer it to the planning board, or the planning board would refer it to the zoning board. I think at this point, you could go ahead and make application to them. I don't think anything's really going to change too much in the layout of the, of where the building sits at this point. I think.
It sounds like the only thing that you would be open to changing would be eliminating the wraparound aisle in the front, because you still need the wraparound aisle in the back in order to access parking and the exit. And that you're not willing to move forward unless you have two drive aisles, two drive-through.
Yeah, driveways, correct.
Right.
So I think that means that you can't move the building any further back based on your, business plan. Whether you would choose another site if you could not position the building where you have it proposed.
One of the other reasons that this is over here too, there was quite a bit of stormwater. I think there's like 4 or 5 different storm drains over here, and sanitary, I think, runs through as well. So we're right up against something on this side. Because I know before we submitted, we had to revise and move over another 6 inches or a foot to try to avoid some of this stuff. So it's not totally drive-through related, but, obviously all that can be relocated, but we'd rather try to reuse as much of it as possible and not just disturb the rest of the plaza. So, but understood, we'll make a case to the ZBA and see where we go.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Any other questions at this time?
I don't know. The rest of the board? You guys are all good? Okay. All right. Hopefully it gives you a little insight and what you need to do to kind of put this back together to get resubmission.
Yeah, no, it's the process.
Yeah.
I'd remind you, reach out to the county. Make your case to the county, see if what comes of that conversation.
Yeah.
Let us know. I work with Tara. I talk to Tara. If you want to have a 3-way call with the 3 of us, I'd be happy to. But you can also just reach out to them independently and work with them, make your case to them.
And this went to county because of 239, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then I don't think DOT would need to be involved in this project.
I don't think you're proposing any changes to existing access, existing curb cuts to the
There's
highway.
Yeah, no work that's going to take place in the right of way.
Yeah, we don't need, right-of-way permit, so.
Okay.
Okay, all right. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I'm on my planning board, and I understand the time commitment and the fun that goes with it, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. Moving on, the next item on the agenda this evening is for site plan special use permit for Subaru, amended site plan.
Good evening, Board. My name is Kyle Bardwell, engineer at Labella Associates. I'm here to represent VIP Subaru LLC. I'm joined by my coworker, Caitlin Grosskopf. Also with me tonight is Matt Pinero and Rich Serbini, both who work at Subaru in Wappingers. I'm here tonight to present on the Subaru expansion. I was actually in front of the board back in 2021, 2022 to present on a very similar project. This project received site plan and special use permit approval. We're here tonight presenting something very similar. To start with some history into this project, on the first plan of that PDF was a approved site plan in 2015 for which the site became Prestige Mini of Wappinger. This was very helpful because a lot of times with these old sites, it's almost a maze to try to find an understanding of what occurred, what was the thinking when things were approved, and a lot of the existing infrastructure. There was a very detailed plan set along with a SWIP that coincided with that. So in 2021, 2022, when we came in for approval, we were able to kind of come off some of those design elements and kind of incorporate that into our design. So we did put together on the PDF, what I'll do is there's a... Okay. So on the screen in front of us, on the the screen in front of us shows basically the approved plan in 2021, 2022 on the top of the screen, and what we are currently proposing on the bottom of the screen. You can see we are keeping the same 1,360 square foot addition on the southern edge of the building, as well as an expansion in the rear of the building. There are no improvements to the front of the building or the facade. As Malcolm mentioned, there is a slight increase in the square footage of the building for service as we're proposing nowadays, but you can see on the plan shown on the screen that our footprint of impervious area and expansion of parking in the back is merely the same. As was done in the 2021-2022 plan, this back parking area was realigned with striping, just to allow for conveyance of vehicles and restriping related to the building expansion. As this was such a very similar project, we submitted a very thorough technical seeker memo that basically went through all the aspects of the seeker process as it was done in the 2021 and compared it to the current proposed site plan that's shown on the screen above. Very similar to the 2021-2022 plan, our expansion in the rear of the building is going to match the existing facade along the building. So there's really going to be just basically what's existing out there is going to be expanded into the rear of the building. Based on the very minor and negligible differences in the proposed application as it stands today compared to 2022, we are requesting the board to consider make an amendment of the previous seeker findings based on the fact that there's very negligible increase in or differences in the application that's in front of you tonight. With that, I did hear some of the comments from the pre-meeting that I was going to bring up, and at this time, if it was okay, I was going to go through some of the comments that we've received thus far from Peggy and the planner.
Okay.
So going through the planning department comments from Malcolm Simpson, one question was related to additional information needed on the proposed transplacing of wetland mitigation plantings from 2015. The plans include a plant schedule of what is proposed to be transplanted but not existing or proposed location. Additional information is requested on the history of the wetland mitigation plantings is also needed. So in the southeastern portion of the site, in 2015, Mini Cooper received a wetland disturbance permit for the current parking layout. We are proposing a very minor increase in impervious area in that buffer, almost very similar to what was approved in 2021-2022. In the 2015 plan, they proposed some landscaping in that area to make up for that mitigation of that wetland buffer impact. Hearing the comment earlier about maybe there was a little concern about the restoration and how these plants would do and relocated. Something that we will go through as this comment letter goes on is we're willing to put a note that we would be willing to replace any landscaping that does not survive. We would install new landscaping, and we could put maybe a condition on the special use permit that after a year, if plantings do not survive, that we would be fine with installing new restoration plantings. A wetland disturbance permit will be required for the proposed disturbance of the town wetland buffer. We understand we will be submitting an application for this respect. This goes on to the second comment, which is related to some of the other landscaping. There's a small parking expansion on the northern edge of that back parking lot. So because we've had these really detailed, thorough plans from the 2015 site plan, we know exactly what landscaping was installed there. And so we're proposing to relocate those landscaping. Similar to what I just discussed, we would be fine with, if those relocation of the landscaping does not survive, we would be fine with installing new plants of the same size.
Okay.
There was a question about loading zone, so we will make sure to update our site plan for the next submission to show where the current parts loading is done on site. So we can definitely make that amendment to our site plan. Lighting, this was another topic that was in the comment. I'll read the comment and then discuss kind of what was discussed on this comment as related to the pre-meeting. The lighting plan includes 6 existing light poles to remain in location and 12 existing light poles proposed to be relocated, all of which are 18.5 feet in height, which exceeds the 15-foot limit pursuant to Section 240.23. A waiver for increased height of lighting poles would be required for the lighting plan as proposed. So I'm going to walk over to the screen real quick, and I'll grab the mic from B. So in this back parking lot, there are currently out on site tall light poles. Like I said, we were able to have this 2015 site plan that we were able to review, so we know exactly how tall the light poles, and we're actually able to model that light. As you can imagine, we're doing some slight reconfiguration of the drive aisles in the back. So from logical aspect is we felt that we would just take the light poles that are there and move them. Unfortunately, it seemed that in the 2015 plan, the 15-foot poles on 3-foot bases kind of maybe passed the code.
The code was adopted more recently than that.
It was a change in the code, correct. So there was a change in the code, so the light pole heights were lowered. So, I mean, what percentage of the lights are going to be modified out of the poles? Do you know off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly as it relates to the site. We're really just relocating the lights in the back of the site. We're not making any changes to the front or any of the parking areas that we're not touching.
Okay, so it's all be towards the back.
Right, and these would be, I mean, they're currently lit with these exact same light poles. So the thought was that if we relocated, it wouldn't have a big, major impact, because it's exactly what's out there right now.
Okay. But how does the question comes, how's the current lighting plan then is it going to comply, what's out there now, is that going to comply with the current lighting plan? That would be the question.
So what's out there now is...
Because you would have a mix. So if you had, let's say, everything that you're leaving to the front of the building, is that all going to be, of a, higher color temperature, increased, foot candle average across that area, and in the back you're going to comply with the current standard, maintaining the 3,000 Kelvin color temperature, and then keeping the average foot candle around 1.
Correct. So we would meet all of the foot candle requirements in the back. We would ask for that waiver of the pole height, just given the fact that those are what's existing out there. We're not changing any aspects of the front lighting of the building.
So I don't have the plans in front of me, but from my recollection, the existing lights are 3,000 Kelvin in color temperature. I believe the lighting schedule showed that. I don't know if that included the lights in the front of the building, but I believe that was true of what was in the back. I could be wrong. The lighting levels.
Yeah,
it's correct, 3,000.
So the color temperature complies, the lighting levels comply. There are no hot spots that exceed 5-foot candles. The average is between 1 and 2 foot candles. It's just the height of the poles. And
the pole height itself.
I'm mentioning the poles. There are also lights mounted onto the building, right?
Correct, yep.
Do you know what the height of those are? 'Cause I believe...
They're 15 feet and below.
Okay, perfect. Then it's just the poles. It's going to be all the poles in the back.
If everything else is going to, if everything else complies with the current lighting requirements, just the pole height, that's something that, I guess, that's something that the board would have to, kind of make a decision. So, and that's on the lighting plan itself. I didn't look at it in detail, the lighting plan.
Correct. We show where the relocated poles will be put, and all of the lighting metrics and all those pieces.
Okay. So, okay. And you're saying that everything else, you reviewed it and you said everything else complies?
Yeah, I believe the only waiver that I caught that they would need would be for pole height.
So we can circle back to that. So the next comment was the application is considered to be an unlisted action with respect to seeker. The applicant has just submitted a seeker technical comparison report. The town planning board should consider if they would like to pursue a coordinated or uncoordinated review of the action. I'll bring this up later on. We are, again, trying to seek to come under the previous seeker findings given the, the negligible differences in this current application. So with that, we can go on to the engineering comments from Christian Padgett, town engineer. The project proposes to amend and improve site plan from 2021. As with prior applications for site plan amendment, the board may wish to request that the applicant provide prior site plan so that review of the approval requirements can be performed. Any pertinent information requirements from the original approval that are not proposed to be modified should be carried over to the new plan. So we can definitely supply exactly what was submitted and approved in 2021, 2022 for the board to review.
Okay.
The proposed project includes multiple building additions to an existing car dealership and associated utility improvements, including additional wash bay. We are proposing a BioJack Green Edge water recycling system to the property to handle additional flows from the new wash bay. It is noted that the 2,000-gallon grease trap, which is currently on site, has sufficient capacity to manage the increased flows from the town. Christian mentioned reaching out to Camo for the review and comment of this. So kind of just to briefly speak on that, right now there's a Green Edge system inside of the facility, and this recirculates a lot of the water that's used in the wash bay. It's extremely green. It's a really impressive recycling statistic. And so similar to 2021, we are proposing one new wash bay. So we were going to put in an additional recycling unit in there. As Christian mentioned, we put together calculations to show that the existing holding tanks on site would be sufficient. We didn't reach out to Camo back in 2022. Not really familiar with that process, but if that's something that the town would request, I think we would be fine with doing that.
I can also reach out to Mike and review it with him.
Yeah, I was going to say, because, I mean, technically, I mean, you could reach out and speak to him, but I don't think there's anything in the near future where sewer is actually going to be run down that portion of Route 9.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I'll at least give him a courtesy to let him know that this is what's going on.
All those kind of
concern,
all that discussion on that all went out the window because of, I think they were talking about doing that with when the CarMax dealership was coming in. And I think that all kind of disappeared when some estimated costs came in. And I don't think that some of the property owners on Route 9 were willing to support the cost of extending the district.
I just know the arrangement that's out there now for the future connection was all determined in coordination with the town engineer at the time and with Camo. So as a courtesy, I can just reach out to Mike Trevor at Camo and just let him know, make sure
make sure that he has, that there's no concern that he's going to have.
Exactly.
Again, if there's no system there, I don't think he's really, Okay, and then with that, you've already reached out to the health department regarding this, because some of this water you're going to have to discharge back into the ground?
So actually, the way those holding tanks work is they sit and they have a float and an alarm. And when that alarm goes off, they actually come and they have it hauled to a DEC-approved facility. So none of it actually goes to the septic system.
Okay. All right.
So just exactly similar to the 2021, 2022.
So it'll remain the same. That's
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Going on to the comment, we recommend that the application be circulated to the town highway department and the local fire department for review and comment. We did receive feedback from the fire bureau in a memo that was submitted to the town of Wappinger that they had no comments on the application. We haven't received correspondence from the highway department. I wasn't too sure exactly what on this application they would be purview to.
Do I say highway? Then that's, that should not go to the highway department. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
It's on a DOT road, obviously, so.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Christian, for your clarification. Going on to the next comment, the proposed project involves 1.69 acres of ground disturbance. So correct in the fact that we required a SWIP. Apologize that it didn't make it over to you earlier. That sometimes the links and everything else. So B, thank you for getting that over to them right away. And so yeah, we'll wait for your comments on that. Going on to the next comment, relates to, similar to the wetland mitigation we spoke on before, and it also appears that a jurisdictional determination is required under the new DEC Freshwater Wetlands Act. Something that, to be honest with the board tonight, is we were seeking to come under the previous seeker findings. One aspect of coming under the previous seeker findings is you're not required to do a JD under the new wetland laws because the project already received a neg deck. So that's one of the aspects of coming under the previous seeker findings. Doing that JD review with DC is a very lengthy review, and so we were trying to come under the previous. We're really not proposing any very minor additional disturbance to the one wetland buffer that we spoke on tonight. So it was something that was related to that seeker tech memo that we submitted. Those were the comments.
I'm just thinking about that. I mean, technically, I mean, being that the previous review, had expired, that doesn't leave us in a position to reuse that same review, does it? I mean, I know there is changes to the plan too, which also come into play.
So I'll need to double check on that.
Okay. Just to confirm.
On our end, the cleaner way is to redo the seeker review. I will look into what it would look like for.
It could be reaffirmed, but we got to, I think that doesn't mean we just negate the review. I think we have to look at it again.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you know, I mean, I know that on the plans there is a number for the square footage of additional parking area within the wetland buffer. Do you know the total disturbance? Because there's also grading. The grading is what's actually affecting the mitigation plantings, right? Do you know what the total disturbance in the wetland buffer would be?
We do have that written. I wish I had it at the top of my head for you, Malcolm.
No worries.
Let's see if we have it. We can provide that, Malcolm. The one aspect I would mention on this piece is we are not proposing any further disturbance of that wetland buffer than was done in 2015.
I think I could be remembering wrong. I think that there is, like a few 100 feet of the additional, the southwesternmost portion of the extension to the parking area. I think that's within the wetland buffer. As far as it's identified on the plans.
Correct. So we did mention that there was an increase in 509 square feet in the buffer encroachment. That was related to the actual relocation of some of those wetland mitigation plantings.
Okay. Okay. I mean, we don't have to find an answer to this. This will also be included in your wetland disturbance permit application. In our conversation during the pre-meeting, you mentioned a wetland that was created in the northeastern portion of the site in 2015. Can you speak a little bit more on that? I didn't see that on the plans, and I was surprised to hear that.
Sure. So Malcolm briefly caught the board up with, in 2015, this was actually a lot consolidation to create the Prestige Mini as it stands today. In the middle of the site, more or less where the building is, there was a wetland on site. And to fill in that wetland to create what is now the building, what they did was they restored and relocated a wetland on the northwest portion of the site, Malcolm. So that's all the way at the top of the screen there. So one aspect of that is once that became a relocated wetland, obviously it got a 100-foot buffer on it for town requirements. We are not proposing any disturbance within 100 feet of that relocated wetland.
Okay. In that case, I am curious, since it's all inventory space in the back, what a layout plan would look like, what you would need to do in order to avoid impacting the wetland buffer and to relocate, that expansion of the parking lot to the northeastern portion as opposed to the southeastern portion. I think that would be important for the board to consider both under seeker and the wetland disturbance permit. just to see what that would look like and whether or not that's feasible.
It's a good comment, Malcolm. So what Malcolm's trying to bring up is, instead of maybe doing some of our parking expansion down at the bottom of the page here, is if we found somewhere else that could be outside of that aspect. So as mentioned, the relocated wetland and buffer is on the top left of the screen here, so it's kind of avoids us from doing any expansions in that part of the property without a wetland permit. We are increasing some parking on the north piece here, as you can see. That's as much as we can do without having to do additional drive aisle, basically. So we're kind of maxed out in that aspect. Honestly, we came in with hopes that we could get a few of those spots in the southeastern portion, just because it was previously disturbed, and we had the previous approval in 2021. So that was kind of our ask tonight.
Well, in terms of the secret, I mean, I think what we got to do is, it's impossible to give you an answer on that today, because a lot of it goes to whether or not there's a change in the intensity of the use, which, there very well may be. Other things would be, I mean, if it was done 1 in 21, so, obviously there's conditions that may have changed between now and then as well that are also going to be relevant. So it's not something I don't think we can give a complete answer today until we get deeper into the weeds on it.
Sure, and I totally respect, the board and everyone of that. We figured that we would come in with that request. It's kind of a nuanced situation in the fact that we were here back in 2021, 2022 with a very similar project. So we would hear what the board and the consultants have to say and respond accordingly. With that, I would imagine what we will do is put together our wetland disturbance permit application. We'll have that ready to go. Is it possible maybe we can kind of hear a response on maybe a path forward that will kind of depict how we submit back, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I'm not sure. In the preparation of the wetland disturbance permit, take a look at 137. There are requirements in there for a wetland disturbance beyond the form that you fill out. A lot of it has to do with sort of documentation on the existing conditions and the significance of the wetland that is being, the wetland in question. Sure. I would also, ask that additional information, given the history of the mitigation plantings, et cetera, that be added to any narrative that's submitted with that. So just take a look at 137 and what's required for that permit. As far as a process forward, I mean, what is the board's inclination with regard to seeker? I mean, I can look at what, look at a comparison of this proposal versus the one in 21, 22. Your consultants can try to give you more information on a comparison of the intensity of the use that's being proposed versus what had been approved, or would the board prefer to conduct a secret review with the application before them?
I mean, out of it, how much, we're really not missing that much more information at this point.
I think the biggest difference between doing a secret review for the application before us and using the previous one is that the applicant would need to do a jurisdictional determination with the DEC to see whether or not the Army Corps wetland on the adjacent site is also a DEC wetland. Right. Beyond that, I think that the information for secret review, we have it already, and
we already have it within what's submitted so far.
Did they do an EAF?
Yeah, I mean, they did not submit an EAF form. They submitted a technical addendum that addresses all of the EAF information. But I think that, depending on how the board would like to move forward with seeker, if we're going to do our own seeker review, we would ask you to fill out the EAF form. But again, the information that goes into that form.
Exactly, yeah, we have it.
Is in the record, yeah.
It's all, right, it's all.
The main thing that we're missing from it would be the mapper attachment, right? The information that goes into the form itself we have in the technical addendum that they provided. I would also just, reiterate what I talked about in the pre-meeting with the board. The plan proposes, the landscaping plan and the wetland impact plan both propose the relocation of existing plantings, many of which are large trees. As the tree gets larger, the survivability rate in relocation goes down. The note on the plans and what the applicant has represented is that if transplant fails, that they will replace that tree in kind, which means that they would have to replace the 6 caliper tree with another 6 caliper tree of the same species. That can be costly because, you know, that's a larger tree instead of putting in a sapling. And then they run into the same issue, which is that the transplant of larger trees has a lower survivability rate, and then they run into, I think it has the potential to be a negative feedback loop financially for the applicant, but it is also an enforcement headache for the town. Enforcement for the landscaping plan, a row of trees, we know that there are supposed to be 6 oak trees along this line of the parking lot is one thing. We can see one's dead, that's fine. The mitigation plantings in the back, down the sloped bank, in the gully behind the parking lot, my concern is that that would be an unfeasible enforcement issue for the town. That's my biggest concern with the relocation of the wetland mitigation plantings, is that they'll have a low survivability rate and it'll be difficult to keep track of whether or not they die and whether or not they need to get replaced.
So, yeah, so I mean, with that, instead of, your recommendation is just to have them plant all new?
I mean, I definitely don't want to do that. I think
it's, yeah, if they could relocate them.
I think that's the best alternative.
They're willing to document within the, within the site plan that if it's.
I do know that,
enforcement.
I mean, the note on the plan says that you have an arborist involved that's going to be overseeing the relocation of those plants. I'm curious, I mean, it can be a condition of any approvals moving forward. I'm not sure legally or financially how we would set this up, but to have that arborist prepare a report a year and a half later on the quality of, you know, the status of that transplant and whether or not that transplant has been successful and what may or may not need to be then done to make up for.
That's kind of complicated.
Yeah, that's my concern. I would love for them to relocate the trees and for them to all survive and retain them. I mean, they're all 10-year-olds. They're all oak trees that have been growing for 10 years. Not all of them, but those are the ones that I'm concerned about not surviving any kind of transplant.
How wide is that? We have to.
6 inches.
Oh.
Yeah.
So not impossible to move, but I mean, that's the reason that we have trees planted at the size that we do is because anything above that, you know, as you get larger than that, the survivability rate starts to drop.
No, it gets get more complicated. But even again, bringing in brand new trees with that same caliper, you're running the same. The same chance. So either way, and if you put in a new, you put in a new tree from a nursery into that area, if it doesn't survive, still it falls back to the enforcement end anyway. So no matter what, you have to there's going to be some type of enforcement that's going to be needed.
I think that we'll need some kind of plan because even to have a good chance of survivability, there needs to be consistent care and maintenance over a period of time. It's not as simple as moving the tree and then seeing whether or not it lives. It needs attention. It needs to be transplanted at the right time. It needs attention. And I don't know what any kind of monitoring scheme would be as far as, the applicant keeping track of that and demonstrating that compliance or code enforcement going out and doing that. I mean,
No, code enforcement, I don't know. Maintenance, I don't know, maintenance agreement from the applicant? That they contract with somebody to provide that service for a set period of time?
It's a possibility. I don't know.
Just throwing
maybe a
ideas out.
bond is
Yeah.
another possibility, right? They can post something there in case they don't follow through. But that's going to be the tricky issue, is how to enforce it down the road.
Yeah.
With a maintenance agreement. I'll take a look at some options and see what I can come up with, and give you some ideas when we get back.
I'll talk to some people as well. I'll see if something similar has been done in another municipality that we work in, and
Yeah.
how
come
that
up
was
with a-
treated. And
Come up with a reasonable solution. But yeah, I think I agree that transplanting, is the best option. That's,
Yeah.
just save what's there. I mean, it's already been growing there on the site.
Yeah.
Relocated, it's, might have a good chance of survival versus bringing something in from the outside, which, first couple of years may only rely on what's within the root ball itself.
I'm curious, the impact, the expansion of the parking that creates the impact into the mitigation plantings. I don't expect you to know this off the top of your head, but would you be able to tell us, how many parking spaces? What would a plan, look at what a scheme that avoids that situation and maintains the same amount of parking would look like? And then also tell us, how many inventory spaces do you lose if the planning board chooses not to grant the wetland disturbance permit?
So just to briefly speak on two of those things, the landscaping, it's something that we are proposing. We would be, fine with a new landscaping plan if that's how it fell out. It's not something that we would, like a hill we would die on, just to give everyone something. So I appreciate us having the conversation though. And as it relates to the buffer impact, as it relates to the parking, it's something that we proposed because it was approved in 2021, 2022. We will revisit that to see if it's something that we could avoid. But it's something that we felt that we could request, just given the fact that we previously had approved parking spaces in that location.
Okay.
If it's going to now possibly delay you 90 days to get the JD from DEC, it may be worth looking at another option too.
And that's kind of one of the aspects of, it's not like we're trying to hide anything from the DEC or any of those aspects.
Yeah.
It's really the length of review from those agencies.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's out of our control.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. No. Yeah, we're kind of at a loss here with this, where we're going to go with it. So we still have to finish the secret review.
I think that's been
We're going to make
agreed,
that,
right?
we're going to make that decision.
It's a new application, so it's got, needs a new
They're still going to have
review.
to go through the process.
Right. So we need an EAF, and
Would you like to circulate for lead agency? Do you want to do a coordinated review or an uncoordinated review?
What does everybody feel? Do you want to, if it's uncoordinated review, all they're going to do is submit something to us that they've, at the end of the day, that they've gotten something back, or are we waiting on that, or are we just, once our approval is done, we're done?
It's more so onus on the applicant. It just means that
It's on them to
if they need to
deal
get
with.
approval from anyone else, they need to
Right.
get a secret determination from those agencies as well? Or is the secret review going to be done by this planning board, and that secret review stands for
Yeah.
any agency that they may need to get approval for?
And just to speak quickly on that, this application was circulated to some of the involved agencies. We did get a GML planning letter from Dutchess County that it was a matter of local concern. We did get feedback from Dutchess County Department of Health. We obviously got the review from the local fire bureau. So it has been circulated in some respects.
Yeah. What's the rest of the board feel? There's a coordinated review?
It doesn't slow anything down to do.
Okay.
It doesn't slow anything down.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that
been either direction. It's going to be the same.
it would
amount
take
of time.
less time than a new submission from the applicant and a jurisdictional determination would, so, a 30-day.
All right, so I understand a motion to do a coordinated review. All right, do second? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Is the planning board in a position to give any guidance to the applicant on the lighting waiver that they've requested? If they can't get that lighting waiver, they will need to rework their lighting plan.
What's the requirement, height?
15, and you're at 18.5?
Right, the poles are 15 and they sit on a 3-foot base.
So just 18.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a difference of 3.5 feet, but you're going to meet all the rest of the requirements within the code section.
Correct.
Other than the pole height.
Correct.
But the ones in the front will still be 8, how high?
18.
18.
Yeah.
They're not changing.
We're not, yeah, right, because we're not proposing any, improvements to the
But
front.
you're proposing all the pole heights to be 18, even the new ones, correct?
We're just going to keep them, right? Keep the old.
Well, they're relocating
I think there are some new, there are some existing that are being relocated, and then there are a number that are existing.
Right.
Well,
That was the percentage I was trying to ask earlier. What percentage of work are we actually altering?
I think
In terms of the overall light poles.
From what I recall, a third of the poles are new, a third of them are relocated, and a third of them are existing and proposed to remain.
I believe you're correct, Malcolm. I can't accurately speak on that right
It doesn't
now.
include the wall-mounted packs, but my recollection of the
But in
poles.
terms of the poles themselves,
Yeah.
that's what
are
I'm
the
saying.
poles themselves expensive? If you're going to get 1/3 new anyway, why wouldn't you just get all new?
They'll probably have to add a few, they'll probably have to reposition their lighting plan because the light is hung lower. And they may need to add poles depending on, because
Right.
by changing it, then they need to.
Okay, so there's another reason.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why they don't want to do that, because they'll probably have to get additional lights if they lower them. That's why everybody wants a 25-foot parking light, so they can put one up and not 4.
Yeah.
We won't come back with 25-foot poles.
What's the thought on, the board have thoughts on the waiver, if we were to issue a waiver? Any pros and cons?
Can we hold off on that? We're going to have more submission. Do we have to do that now?
You don't.
No.
You don't. I'm just saying, if you knew that you weren't going to grant that waiver, they would know that they need to go redo their lighting plan.
That was just to give them some guidance.
Yeah.
So is it something anybody's like overly concerned about with the pole height versus, if they have a higher pole height, they're still going to meet all the rest of the requirements. So it's not like they're going to try to, you're not going to put something up like, now, it's 18 feet, now I have to put in a, much brighter light on there,
No, right.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And just to give a little comfort, these have been the poles that have been there for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And these are all in the back where they would be relocated?
They're currently in the back, and they're just going to be relocated to sit in the new parking striping, so they're not sitting in the proposed drive aisles, basically.
I have no issue with that at all.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Is it, you're fine with it as well? All right, so we won't vote on the waiver tonight, but it sounds like there's at least 3 of us, because I don't think I seem to be overly concerned with the height, so.
Okay. So with that, we will be doing a new seeker coordinated review. We'll submit an EAF as such. Would it be possible to set a public hearing for the next meeting?
Possibly. Is there a lot for the next meeting currently?
I know there's sometimes like a posting.
Well, we'll need to get, we'll want new plans, right, the new submission.
Right.
And so I think it wouldn't be for the next meeting, it would be for the second meeting in February.
There is none.
There is no second meeting in
It'll
February.
be the first meeting in March. Okay.
That would be, so if we're going to need the resubmission, then, what was the date again, Dave?
I'm sorry?
What was the date, March?
Or the second, right?
I can't, Yeah, March 2nd.
March 2nd, yeah,
Yeah.
February 2nd.
February 2nd is middle? Okay. We'll try to get that even ASAP.
February or March?
Okay.
It's the March meeting, the deadline for the submission is
Deadline for
February
the
2nd.
submission, so between them getting that in and then review process, so then we'd have to schedule for March the 2nd. So,
All right, I'll make a motion, to schedule a public hearing for March 2nd.
okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none? Motion carries.
Thank you. I really appreciate the, support through this nuancy project. We might have come in with a couple of odd requests, so I appreciate you guys working with us, and we'll come back next meeting. We appreciate it.
Okay, now you're welcome.
So I take it then the expectation is to get the secret review done before
All right.
the public hearing, right?
Moving on, we have a,
First, we conclude the secret review.
you're just going to go?
The negative is usually baked into those items.
Right,
All right.
which is fine.
We're going to continue on, just because there's no four of us here.
It's expected that
So,
there won't be any outstanding
with that,
or secret issues if you're about to go
yes, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the
the public hearing.
conceptual site plan approval for Sunup.
Before the actual public hearing is
All
conducted.
right, you're welcome.
My name is Ganesh Ramprasad. I'm tenant, and I'm here behalf of Sunup, Newton Surgery.
Subdivision applications.
So I'm the guy who's going to move in once the residents.
You're the- so it's- yeah, it's
I
okay.
thought this was, this is site plan.
Guys, can we have one meeting, please?
Yeah, no, yeah, it is different.
All right.
Especially with
So-
submitted site plan, it's typically.
I think most of us just got this today. So with your proposal,
I'm a repair shop. So I'm moving my location to this location. So I
Okay.
repair cars, and that's going to be fun.
Can you speak into the microphone?
yeah, okay, so what you're proposing to do is you're looking to,
Rent the location.
okay, so I'm looking at which building, it's all within the one building?
Yeah, I think he got multiple one, but this one, I think,
Yeah, just looking at one which is
Yes.
survey, but this is,
I think he marked it up. Because according to the plan, he have his business only there. So for me to move it, he just want to add my business to the location.
Yeah.
So your business would be automotive repair?
Yes, general mechanic.
General mechanic? My concern is that automotive repair has its own special permit requirements. One of them being a minimum lot size that is larger than the size of the lot in question. So I
the
think that there
minimum
would...
lot size is larger than the required is
the lot
larger
size
than what's
is-
currently there.
The lot size is 0.9 acres. I believe the size requirement is 2 acres for automotive repair.
But he repairing trucks, doing automated repair there.
But he repairs his own trucks.
Trucks, yes.
It's not an automotive repair business. He's repairing his own vehicles.
Right.
Right. So this would be for outside, for something outside of that business.
Right.
All right. So, I mean,
That's so important.
no, I think it sounds like there's a,
I think there would be a variance needed in order to...
Pretty large one.
and the site, so not only the variance, but you also need the amended site plan approval, too.
What's the existing business? What's his existing business?
Repair trucks. And I think
It's
he's,
the same thing, but the approval was given to just, for him to repair, not to have another business coming to the same thing.
So
Why?
it's,
So it is an automotive repair.
I'm sorry?
It already is an automotive repair.
He works on his own vehicle.
right, he's working on, so basically as a construction, it was a construction company that repaired their own equipment on site, on that property.
Yeah.
So that's currently what was there. He was running one business out of the property. And I believe that's, according to Barbara, I think that's what was previously approved. He's proposing now to take a portion of the building and now make it, a tenant space for himself, which then now you would have two different,
In the same building.
two different, it's the same,
Two different
each of them is the
mechanics
same
operating
use,
out
but
of the same-
you have two shops there versus one.
But now is the shop going to be for consumers, right? But the second shop now would be for consumers.
It would be for the public, yeah. Yeah, because I believe the owner's keeping the other half still for his.
Yes,
for-
yes,
for,
he running his, yeah.
Right, for the repair of his own
Yes.
trucks. Yep, okay.
And it's my understanding he wants to add other businesses there on that property.
In the existing building?
Correct.
Because I think like, what, three different building, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Isn't
huge.
this
The
kind of
lot's
like,
huge.
Barbara wanted them
The lot's
So it's
0.9
become-
acres.
No.
The lot's, what were you going to say?
No, Barbara wanted you guys to know that he does intend on bringing other businesses there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
this
basic.
guy is just visitor referee, he's one of the new
He's
businesses.
one of the new tenants.
Yes.
Exactly. And
Is that based on conversations Barbara had with the owner?
I mean, the owner had a conversation with me
Or with you?
and everything.
That he may want to rent, you said may want to rent out other spaces, correct?
Yes.
Right, so it's right, so the building in the front, he wants to buy, it's now wouldn't be their office, wouldn't wholly be their office anymore. They might rent out part of that to another tenant, so you'd have multiple, so you're really changing all the uses of everything. So it's not you're just running one business with one use. Now you might end up with some other type of uses in the building. That's what Barbara's concern is.
Yeah.
So the front would be, where the office is may become, a small office for them, and then a larger, a portion of that building becoming some other type of, personal service, or I don't know if retail's allowed in that area.
I mean, as long as the floor area ratio is below the requirement and the businesses are allowed in the zone, I guess my concern is, I did not know that, but it sounds like a special permit was granted for automotive repair at some point to this site. I don't know how long ago that was.
Okay.
I'd be curious to see that resolution. I do know that special permit now, at least, or possibly at the time, and they got a variance.
October of '95.
Okay. So either at the time and they got a variance, or more recently than that, the regulations have changed, and that special permit now has a minimum lot area of 2 acres.
what's the business called now?
I don't know. It's on us property.
And that's all of these trucks that are on the property right now? Are they all going to stay there? Is there another business on this property?
Not yet.
What's Power Up Detailing? Because it's coming up on Google Earth as a business located on that property, and the building on the front part. So it seems like there's, according to Google, there's already a business operating out of that location called Power Up. Is there a business called Power Up Detailing there? My question would be, with all the trucks and, I mean, where would you even put the parking and stuff for another business anyway? I had somebody I know, there's Rad Automotive on 376, right? I think didn't the town have an issue with vehicles being in front of that? So if we're doing that for him and making him move all the vehicles to the back of his lot, and you can't even, looking at this map here, I don't even see an open spot in the front or the back of the lot. How would it support any other business?
Well, I'd be curious to see the existing and the proposed site plan. I think that any amendment to the site plan to add an additional business to the site would raise all of those same questions, right?
Yeah.
How is the current site operating? Where are you storing vehicles? Are you allowed to store vehicles there? And is there going to be sections of this property that are allocated to different businesses? I mean, all of that then becomes elements of any new amended site plan.
And that was one of the reasons Barbara was saying that if just allowing him to bring his business in there I know the intent is to have other businesses, so why not
It's only,
identify the businesses that are going to be coming in so we can get that, so you guys can approve this site
Yeah.
plan, you know, for all of those businesses.
I think it would make sense if he knows which businesses they are and they're ready to move forward to the site plan. I think that would make sense. It may just be that he has that intention and he hasn't identified those businesses.
According to this is showing there's a whole other business there already. I mean, this Power Up Detailing Company it's based out of that address. It's got reviews, photos, web page,
It's a car detailing.
Yeah.
What's the name of the business?
Power Up Detailing? January 26, 21 Forest, 1607, New York 376.
So I'll look at the code and I'll talk to Barbara about this, because it may also include a determination from her, but.
Well, I think obviously, with just what she put in the memo, apparently it definitely needs to get some type of an amended site plan approval. So, which would be for the, I guess for the automotive repair business that would be going in there, versus the construction or trucking company that's currently there, and then whatever is going to end up, she feels, I guess there's going to be some change to the front building as well,
Yeah.
which then, that would all have to be addressed.
Well, I guess my concern is, if a special permit for automotive repair was not required because he was operating on his own trucks, that's one thing. If he was granted a special permit at some point for automotive repair, that's another. And this would be an amendment to that special permit or an additional special permit. And I think that a variance would be required in order to obtain any amended or additional special permit there. In either instance, right? Because if there isn't a special permit on the site, because it's not a commercial automotive repair, he's working on his own fleet. But I would think that you would still need a special permit if you're working on your own fleet on a lot that is dedicated to working on your own fleet. But I could be wrong.
Renter? What business are you trying to open?
auto repair,
Yeah.
mechanics.
And that's what he's doing.
Oh,
And that's what he's doing there.
so can't we just go under the assumption right now of that there's that business and there's this business here? Let's assume. What would have to happen?
We would need to amend the special permit for the site to include this tenant, I think, and amend the site plan.
Barbara's, I think, referring it back to the board for full, for an amended site plan, because, again, it's changing the use because it was very specific. I'm assuming the previous approval was very specific to one company running on that property for their intended purpose. Now it's going to change into multiple tenants on the property, so they would have to then, I guess, identify, what they're looking to do and making sure there's, I guess, between adequate parking, and then, again, whatever else would come into play, even the special permit issues.
This rang a bell with me, and I had brought my car up to this address, 1607, to a detailing business. Amen Detailing. This is about a year ago. I didn't drop my car off, but
Julie is telling me, it's not legal, whatever the detailing is, it is fair but not legal.
It's not legal?
She just texted me.
Well, of course it's not legal, because right now we only think it's a trucking company, right?
Okay.
So that's
It's not, so it's not as simple tonight as just, we can give an approval. If you want to move forward, it sounds like to me, somebody's going to need to hire an engineer to put to put together a revised site plan. And the owner's going to have to kind of basically put his needs of what he wants to do with the entire property, and address those so that they can be, those areas can be used, for whatever legal purposes they're looking to use it for. So I think that's where we are today. Not much I can give you. Obviously, I don't think you're looking to make that expense. It's probably something you need to talk to the property owner.
The traveling is, killing me. I go to the city every day. And I move up here with my kids, my whole family.
Yeah.
So I just want to make a transfer.
Right, you just want to move your business somewhere. Right, right. It's not, it's, I mean, it's up to, again, it's up to you to make that decision. Talk to the property owner, but again, it's going to be, it's going to be a costly decision.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm helping him because so he cannot move. He's on a wheelchair. So I take my time to fulfill him because I need to get things done the right way.
Yeah.
So because every day I travel to the city and it's not easy for me.
Well, I think that if his intention is to rent out a portion of this property to you or to others, he will need to submit for an amended site plan.
Yeah, well, when he talk, it's just, he only mentioned me because the one building that he have in the back is for his truck, and the other one in front is vacant. So that's the only building he have to rent out to me.
Right, in the back, yeah. But if he's currently renting the front out, and there's been the front building, if that's been changed, let's say, from what it was originally approved for, and it's being used for something different, and that's what I think part of the concern is that would have to also be identified on the site plan, because it would have to deal with the whole property.
I understand, because I don't know what he have in the lot, what he's zoned or what he's doing. It's just the one building that I'm concerned.
Right, that you're concerned with, correct, yeah. But in order for us to make any approval, it would have to be based upon the entire property as a whole.
So what he really wanted, he knows he has to amend his site plan. I think his main thing was, would you guys allow him to bring your business in, and he will move forward with amending his site plan and adding whatever business is within that zone.
Okay, so,
I'm not saying that if you guys can just grant me that, just I can move forward with it. And then he can take it in his way how he wanted to.
I did make you aware that this was just conceptual.
Yeah.
We weren't going to get an answer.
Right.
And if it said it was okay, you're going to have to amend it. I told you how much it's going to cost. It's going to be a week of it.
That's
you have to look at the whole site. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, personally, I don't think it's, I think what you're proposing to do will fit the use of the property. I mean, it fits within the zoning.
I mean, it sounds like what he's proposing to do has been happening on the site since '95. In some form or another, whether or not it is, somewhere where you drive up and drop off your car, or you're working on your own vehicles. But vehicles have been repaired on this site since 1995.
Right.
Beyond that, I don't know anything about the site and whether or not it's...
Right. So I'm just, it's probably, the use is going to be allowed. It's just a matter of now amending the site plan.
Well, the use is a special permit, though.
It's a special permit, right. So that would be part of the process, then they would have to go through.
Except if he needs a variance.
Right, then there's a zoning issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there is a size requirement for that.
Well, I mean, we still got to confirm with Barbara that that's the case.
I'm curious if this is a pre-existing use on a pre-existing lot, and, I'll double check this special permit requirement, right? It's like Tassone Court. If this was an auto body repair shop before we adopted that special permit and those special permit provisions, my expectation is that it can continue to be. It gets a little murky when we're amending that special permit. I don't know whether or not...
To expand it.
Well, yeah, I mean, is it expanding it if there's no additional building? I don't know. I need to look into this. I need to talk to Barbara. It'll probably come down to an interpretation of the code that she needs to perform.
Right. So I think really it's going to fall back. I mean, it falls back to, it could be done, but it's just that how far,
how long
to what extent the process is going to take.
Yes.
So the use will, I mean, it sounds like it's probably going to be allowed. It's just how hard it is to get to the finish line, to allow you to go in there again, the owner would have to amend the site plan, and depending upon how many steps it takes beyond just coming to the planning board and going through our process, in order to get that final approval. So, I mean, that's pretty much where it is, but.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry we can't give you, any real, any more guidance than that, but if you wanted to come back with it, or if the owner wants to come back with it, I guess, I don't know who's gonna handle it, but he'd have to address everything on the property that's gonna take a change, so he has a site plan that's gonna conform with what his intended uses are, and we can go from there.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. So we have one other item here this evening. We have the extension for Riverview Land Company LLC. They're seeking their 5th extension on an amended site plan and special use permit for the construction of 2 new structures on the property. They were looking for a 1-year extension. I know that we had a discussion earlier as the extensions, as they drag on with no real end in sight. I know the zoning administrator made a recommendation for us to only approve a 6-month extension, as some of the regulations may change within the town.
I make a motion for a 6-month extension.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. All right. There was one item that wasn't put on the agenda this evening.
At the firehouse?
Yeah. I don't know if we want to have any discussion on that right now.
Let's move it on. Still working on the details.
You may want to, I think a draft letter was provided that we prepared. So I think what you may want to do is provide the decision or determination as to whether to execute that letter, so we can at least get that over to those folks. And that was the letter that sort of conditioned us on waiving off on, running as a lead agent, objecting to their lead agency.
Yeah, but they were outlining the items, the outstanding items that they really need to address. Okay, and it also addressed the fact that they still need to comply with the rest of the town regulations to come back for site plan approval.
Exactly. So your approval would be needed before that letter can go out.
Okay. So with the other 2 consultants, I mean, I know that they had just made a submission today. You guys felt comfortable that by us signing off on that you'd be okay with it? Or do you think that they needed to provide us more information before we actually release that to them for lead agency? That was my only concern.
Yeah, whether or not we want another pass at those submitted materials, or whether or not
Yeah, I don't think that they
them
really...
acknowledging that they need to do these things in seeker review, and that they're saying that they're going to.
Yeah, because I think I didn't get a chance to really read the letter that the architect had sent over today. I don't know if
a lot of it is like, we're going to take care of everything that was brought up, in Malcolm Simpson's memo dated this date. It's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the comments were not, the letter was not overly substantive. It was a list of things that they were acknowledging they were going to do in the secret process.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't read the letter that came in today. I guess the question for you, Kyle, is whether what's in that letter affects anything in the draft that we have here that we got previously.
No, in fact, when I looked at it, it looks like they were playing ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest concern is that they come back after their secret determination to iron those items out that we called out as being deficient. So, I mean, I think that their seeker review is they haven't, at least they haven't demonstrated that their seeker review is not still deficient, but
Right.
at least we know that they'll come back.
They'll come back, and then
They're agreeing to
if
come
there's
back,
anything
yeah.
that may need to be addressed in between,
Right.
then they can do that. And that's, again, it's all pending it's all pending them getting approval by the public to, to proceed with the project. If the public doesn't, doesn't approve it, then they're not going to be coming back because there'll be no project. So I understand the concerns and everything else, so.
Yeah. And Kyle's letter outlines what they need to do, and their letter basically acknowledges that they'll do it.
Okay,
I think that covers it.
All right. So with the draft that was put together, board feel comfortable with voting on the draft letter and just tweaking it and sending it off to the fire district so they can move forward?
You need a motion?
Everybody good? I'm good. I'm assuming, right? We have to vote on this, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll second it.
Okay. So motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. All right.
I'll mention one last thing regarding the historic district. The supervisor's office reached out to me, and we had a preliminary conversation about the historic district and also the historic district overlay, the proposed one from a number of years back.
Yeah.
And so, as an update to the board, I'm doing research for the supervisor's office. We're putting things together, and I just want to let you know that things are moving forward in that regard.
All right, so they're looking at doing some type of an amendment, town board is. Okay, that's good to hear, because I know there's a lot of questions and concerns that have been brought up. And
the other thing I'll mention is that the application for conceptual lists the existing use as contractor's yard and the proposed use as auto repair, which are different uses.
So it's going to be a different.
And auto repair is, that was my concern, that because he was working on his own trucks, autos were being repaired on the site, but it was not considered auto repair. It was considered contractor's yard, which has its own set of requirements and is its own use, and that auto repair is.
So it's more, so I mean, really, at this point, I mean, it can't come back to us unless the zoning administrator deems that it's an allowed use, or there's some type of an allowed path to get it to us that could be used. So really, has to start out with zoning first.
I think they may need a variance, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's the first item under the special permit requirements for auto repair.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we back to the fire district for a minute?
Yeah.
So we're going to send Kyle's letter, and they already sent the letter, but they're waiting for us to take action on withdrawing our objection.
That's what that
Which is what that letter is for, the draft. This draft is for us to rescind our previous decision.
Oh, this is a rescission?
Yeah, with a lot of other items in there that get addressed.
No, it's
all
an
the
if, but it's an
concerns.
if. If you do this, we will, right?
Yeah, it doesn't, right?
Yeah, it makes it's conditional, and which they've agreed to do.
This is sort of their answer already.
Which came today, yeah, so, but
So my question is, so what, is it going to be on next agenda?
What's that, our letter?
Because we didn't rescind lead agent, our objection yet.
Well, I think that's what this letter does.
What do we need from them to actually do that?
Nothing right now.
Nothing.
That's why we just approved this draft.
Oh, so you just want them to agree to the letter? Okay. Just a one-liner back to you, we agree.
Which they already kind of put themselves out there on the record at the last meeting, so I think we're good.
So we'll probably do it at the next meeting.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. All right. So we still have to, so we'll vote on this at the next meeting, that's it.
Well, I'd get the letter out there to them, and then you can vote. And then you can vote, if you want to have an official vote on rescinding or objection, you can do that at the next meeting.
Then we'll do that at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. You'll do that, B, you'll put on the agenda to vote upon the our decision regarding the lead agency for the fire district. Okay.
Send it to them, I don't have to file it with your payroll and anything, right?
Yeah, just, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anything else we want to discuss this evening? No? Okay.
I'll make a motion in the meeting.
We adjourn?
Second.
All right. Motion made, seconded. All in favor? Aye.